put them on the attack. And I think there we had some indication of the strong tackling there, Joe.
That's right, that's exactly what teams want. They want a long kick down there. Warrington's turn to kick off and try and hem Salford down within their own territory.
Did we mention tackling, Steve?
There's been some great defence by Warrington in the early stages of this game, and that's what they need. They need to keep Salford deep in their own territory.
There's also been a lot of talk earlier during the week that the Salford pack, I myself stated that they might have the edge, and I think this will fire Warrington up. They will want to prove a point and really get stuck into the Salford forwards.
Both sides very keen to battle their game to Wembley. Warrington last there in 1990. And Salford even longer, 28 years ago, would you believe, in the era of David Watkins. Not a lot between the two packs of forwards, and yet people all week have been saying what a big pack Salford had.
Yeah, there's certainly in presence that they seem to have a larger pack, but those statistics prove that it's quite evenly matched.
Salford then in possession. Number 5, Richard Hanari. Good run across the backside. He's very, very quick. Finau wants the centre. Now a prop forward. Oh, that was almost a slip. Play on, says referee Smith. Warrington opening it out nicely down the left-hand side. The game really set off at bristling pace. Interference. Have to play the ball. And here we see...
It's an incident earlier on. The touch judge is on the far side over there, and it'll be an incident before the Kelly Shelford tackle.
Little bit of argument there between Cartwright and Willie Swan, but I think the incident is going to be penalised for once, something that's happened a little earlier. Mr. Smith is calling out Mark Lee, I think it is. Obviously, I think a late tackle. Well, we said that Russell Smith will stand no messing.
This penalty, on the advice of the touch judge, he must have seen something that Marley did at the play of the ball.
Yeah, I think he felt that Mark Lee led with his boot. That then puts Warrington on the attack. Roper. Willie Swan. Tony Tatupu, one of the many South Sea Islanders that Alex Murphy's been attracting to Wilderspool. Willie Swan again. Good long pass out there to Roper. Good strong busting run for the Cumbrian. He's got the ball away. Oh, and it looks as if Paul Hume's over there for a try. Superb pass to Hume. He was lurking out wide there. And the skipper sets the example. A shock for Salford. 4 points already for the Wolves.
Warrington spin the ball from left to right. It's Roper's strength really that sets this try up. Powers through one or two, must be said, slight tackles. And there's Hume on his shoulder. Second row in the centre position to score the try.
Yeah, you'll see that. You see Paul Foreman misses the tackle there, and also it's a good offload in the tackle, and Hume scores in the corner.
A lot of determination here, but it was a good pass, wasn't it? He cut out a couple of men. He cuts inside. He's a big lad, is this Cumbrian. Strong, powerful, knows his way to the line, and then the vision and the pass. That's a good try.
Not only good try, but excellent centre play there from Roper. He beat off Forborough and Nathan McAvoy, pushing their tackles aside before passing a beautiful ball out to the supporting Hume for the try. Great centre play.
And surprisingly, it's Jonathan Roper, not Yestin Harris, attempting the conversion. A difficult one, right out on that far touchline. Oh, he strikes it well, and the flanks go up. A superb effort from Roper. Well, what an opening few minutes for that big lad from Cumbria. His father, Sol, who played up there for Workers in Town, he'll be a proud man. 6-0 for the Wolves.
Great start for Warrington, great start for Roper. The ball's pushed out wide, Roper steps up his right foot, powers through a couple of tacklers, and then this beautiful pass as the defence closes in.
So Salford already trailing, just 5 minutes gone, but nobody knows the necessities for an appearance at Wembley than the Salford boss, Andy Gregory. 8 appearances, 7 times the winner. He certainly will have this side pepped up. And Richard Duckingfield down there on the bench. What news, Richard?
Yes, we're looking at this match from pitch side. It's obvious that the sun could have an effect as time goes by. It's in Warrington's eyes now, but as time goes by, it will get lower and Salford will have it.
Well, players once again going in there. No need for that. Mr. Smith, he'd spotted the incident straight away. It did look like a very, very nasty spear tackle. Here we see up and down. Well, you cannot do that in rugby league.
That's right, there's a fine line between aggression and danger, and here Andy Platt is upended. Could have been very, very nasty, that on his neck area, and the referee quite rightly pulls the Warrington defender in for a chat after what was a bag tackle.
So Lacey Fee now there, I think, getting carried away with the excitement of this cup tie. Upending a player like that, or spear tackles, certainly not allowed. Joe, one of the most dangerous tackles in the game. You can suffer real serious back and neck injuries. Well,
it's already a very, very physical game, a lot of collisions, but when you have the added fear of tackles like that causing, well, spinal injury, I mean, it can actually be frightening.
They don't come much harder than the Salford prop, Andy Platt, but certainly he would not relish a tackle like that. That's a good kick. Very, very good kick. He put a lot of height on that, did Patacini, and made good ground. Salford then charging in. Cliff Eccles here. Oh, mistake by Platt. Picked up by Warrington. Good run by Harris out of trouble there. And that's a high tackle. Tempers are boiling here. The game is fierce. Mr. Smith certainly got a game on his hands.
Yeah, Andy Platt, he just took his eyes off the ball a little bit. May still be feeling the effects of that hard tackle that he copped off Salisi Fee now. But the penalty is for a high tackle. Scott Naylor just got Richard Hanari coming back infield with a high tackle. He did apologise after that. You'll see here, Scott Naylor, there was nothing in it. He knew he'd done the wrong thing and put his hand up to apologise after.
But of course, it doesn't matter really whether there's anything in it or not. Any tackle above the shoulders is a high tackle and must be penalised under the laws. Tony Tatupu, number 12 there, from the Auckland Warriors. But it's this Warrington pack leading well from the front. Paul Sculthorpe and Martin Dermott there at number 9, former Wigan hooker. 10 seasons at Central Park. Oh, superb pass out there now to Maffey. Now Roper.
Warrington made their intentions playing straight from the kick-off. They're not trying to throw this ball around and look for the gaps. Exactly what they do again. Salford seem a little bit shell-shocked. The ball goes out from this time right to left, but unfortunately not able to hold the ball that time.
Yeah, Nigel Vargan just took his eyes off the ball, just slipped out of his hands a little bit there and let Salford off the hook. But they're certainly not frightened to spread the ball wide and early in the tackle count, Warrington, at this stage.
It's certainly been a fierce opening from Salford's part. They've got to get themselves together. I think really they've got to hold this ball 2 or 3 times in the middle. Fatacini there, the wingman, doing the job, helping the forwards out. Weston Samoan, Cliff Eccles, making good ground. Fatacini and Eccles there, made 20 metres. Salford trying to work this ball out short again to Cartwright, but it's a forward pass. A little misunderstanding there, I think, Joe. I think half the Salford players expected it to go on the blind side.
Yes, it was a well-worked pattern, but the pass a little bit flustered, a little bit faster than he would have wanted to release the ball, and it was a forward pass. The referee was right on the spot.
Warrington 57% possession there, and of course we look at the top, 6-0. That tells the story.
Well, the story at this stage is that Salford's been in Warrington's half twice, in near their 22, and they've lost the ball twice. They've made two errors. So Salford need to put pressure on Warrington, they need to hang on to the football. You see again territoriality. Warrington 70% of the game has been in Salford half.
Warrington defeated Barrow 66-6 and Sheffield Eagles 31-18 to make progress to this 6th round. And lying on at the play of the ball. Quickly taken there by Harris. He's looking lively. Good pass down that far side there again to Maffey. Salford, ball forward. Forcing Maffey to make a mistake there. And does he know it?
Warrington managed to get the ball from a penalty and then lose it on the first tackle. That's almost criminal, that really. The early start to the game. It is very, very hard out there, very, very quick, and there are obviously nerves. But I'm sure the Warrington pack will thank the wingman for losing the ball.
Salford defeated Castleford. Paris to make their way here to Wilderspool. Salford then in possession. Good, a well-attempted pass, a little low, just couldn't be taken. And really, Joe, Salford are making the mistakes, aren't they?
They are. On several occasions now we've seen passes go to ground rather than go to hand. No matter how good your preparation is in the training camp and in the changing rooms, you have to do it on the field, and it seems that Warrington definitely have started the better today.
Yeah, Salford on the second tackle again, they've turned over possession. They must complete their sets of tackles and make Warrington defend.
Justin Harris linking up there on the short side. Paul Hume receiving the heavy treatment from Paul Fowler and brother David. Tatupu hanging out wide down this left-hand side. This former Auckland Warriors second row New Zealand Test player likes to come down this touchline. Good handling. Tatupu again, looking for support. He's held.
Andy Gregory, the Salford coach, on the bench is a little bit concerned. He thinks they're giving away too many free kicks, and he endorses the view that they must play their 6 tackles and not give it away too early.
Willie Swan putting a wild pass in there. Warrington going back. Dermot on the 5th tackle had to put the kick in. Ooh, tricky ball. Offside. Pull back there. Darren Rogers, former Dewsbury wing, has plenty of speed, but a little bit concerned over the bounce of that ball, but saved at the last minute by an offside decision.
Yeah, Willie Swan was always in front of the kicker. Then if you're in front of the kicker, you have to give the man that's receiving the football 10 yards. You must stay away from him, give him that chance to get the ball.
Just going back to a point that Richard made regarding the kicking game and the weather and the sunshine. As you can see by the length of the shadows and the clarity of the shadows, the sun is very, very strong coming from behind the Salford team, and the kick will be very, very important. I'm sure it will be very, very hard for the Warrington side to field it in defence. But first of all, they have to set a platform and get in a good position to put that kick in.
Matasini, just strong, powerful lad is this Western Samoa rugby union followers may remember him scoring a couple of tries against England in the World Cup. Mark Lee, nice, delicate little chip kick, but well contained there. Well contained by Nigel Vegana. And another penalty again. Interference at the play of the ball. Vegana was not allowed to get to his feet to play the ball. And a knock there. It looks like Salisi Finau. He was in the wars against Sheffield Eagles. He had his nose broken. And here we see the offence. There it is. The Warrington player Vegana not allowed to rise to his feet to play the ball. Referees have been told to be very keen on that play. And there is Finau. He's leaving the field. He had that nose broken against Sheffield Eagles. It may just be to the blood bin. He's a powerful, another stronger man from the South Seas. Once a centre, but being converted into a prop forward. And Paul Derbyshire coming on the field.
And the reason for the Warrington substitution, Salisi Finau, got a rather nasty kick in the neck, and the bench want to have a close look at him, and so Paul Derbyshire is on for Salisi Finau.
So, Salisi Finau off, and thankfully it's not that bloodied nose that he suffered with for the past couple of... Oh, what a welcome for Mr. Derbyshire from Paul Forber. Some real tackling going in here, Steve.
Paul Forber's come up with a couple of big hits. There was one on the other winger there a while ago when he lost the football, but Forber has made some real big hits.
Paul Forber, a former St Helens player, 11 seasons there at Knowsley Road. Played in every match for Salford last season. Mr. Dependable in that Reds pack. And a forward pass spotted by Russell Smith. Good tackle, the shoulders really going in around the midriff here. That was a tackle from Paul Sculthorpe. John Cartwright, he'll be used to tackles like this now out there in Sydney. His first season in the British game. Mark Lee. Out there to McAvoy. One of the bright young prospects in the game. Nathan McAvoy. Mark Lee did well to get that ball away to Paul Forber. Oh, good pass from Forber. Cousins just couldn't take the ball, but that was a well-intended pass by Paul Forber. The half break had been made, the gap was there.
The gap was definitely there. Cousins on his right shoulder, he managed to just chip it up with his foot, but was unable to retain possession.
Sculthorpe using that blind side. Oh, but no way through for Willie Swan. Maffey, he'll want to hold on to this ball this time.
Just an update on Salisi Finau, the Warrington player who came off a few minutes ago. He came off with a rather bad kick in the neck, but he broke his nose last week, and the nose is broken again, so they've been taken to the medical room to be examined.
Willie Swan opening play out there in mid. Oh, I thought Harris was stepping inside there. Good support play from Tatupu. Warrington really using this left-hand side to good effect. Pressure on Salford. Picked up again by Warrington. The crowd really getting behind the Wolves now. It's Roper again down that right-hand side. Warrington really raising the pace of this game. Sculthorpe to Shelford. Shelford inside to Harris. Harris trying to use that sidestep. Still gets that ball out to Dermot. Dermot back inside. 10 metres there from this Salford line. Dermot again. Good tackling. Good Salford defence there, but still Warrington. Harris. Well held by Cartwright. Couple more tackles left in this sequence. Well, Sculthorpe looking for the drop. No goal. Strange, Steve, that?
I think it was strange. At this stage of the game, 1 point's not going to be here and there. I don't think the conditions are going to suit a few more tries in this game. But I think you'll find that Warrington will put plenty more bombs up to Darren Rogers after that attempt on the high kick.
This is the drop goal, just to the left of the post. As you said, Steve, I don't think any real need for a drop goal attempt at this early stage of the game, because there are going to be plenty of opportunities for tries later on in the game.
All credit, though, to the Salford defence. They did move out very, very quickly, and they spoiled Sculthorpe's efforts. Bill Cousins there. Darren Rogers helping out. Blakely had a very serious groin operation in September. Hasn't played since. A lot of responsibility on him. Mark Lee. This time, testing Maffey and Harris. Oh, Harris taking it beautifully. He's got Forber to beat. Good play by the fullback. That's why he's worth £1.3 million on the transfer list. The Welsh wizard as he's known here at Wilderspool. And it looks like Maffey down there on the on the floor. Play progressing. Possibly a clash of heads. But Salford on the attack. Cliff Eccles driving in. 20 minutes gone. Warrington 6, Salford 0. Looking for the first points of the Reds. Mark Lee ran into an entry there in the shape of Tatupu. Andy Platt to Forber. Paul Forber very prominent in these early stages, but still this Warrington defence holding. Cartwright on the fifth tackle. Oh, a good pass out there, and Cousins is in at the corner. Oh, superb effort. Phil Cousins in at the corner, but the play for him was made by the hooker Peter Edwards. Delicate pass out of the tackle, and Phil Cousins in there. Tremendous effort for his 11th try in the Reds colours. 2 points the difference now.
Edwards picks up from night and half back and runs at the wing where Maffey has just been injured, a little bit concussed possibly, left the smallest of gaps, and a try there for Cousins. Great try in the corner.
Yeah, Edwards, after a good quick play the ball from Cartwright, he sees the short side, Warrington is napping and Cousins goes in the corner.
Very professional play, Joe, to attack the area of the field where a player has just been injured.
That's what the game's all about, Ray. I thought they should have done it possibly 2 play balls before that. They managed to work their way to the left. It was only a short side, very, very narrow gap, but they managed to squeeze in.
And like the conversion attempt from Roper, a difficult one for Blakely. A £28,000 bargain buy from Wigan. This lad's career really blossomed at Salford. No wind at all. The sun streaming down here, just like a summer's day. Blakely then trying to slide that ball around, just drops in front of the crossbar. The disappointment on his face tells the story. But a good try from Cousins, and Salford are back in contention. 6-4 to the Wolves.
As they come to the left-hand side, you'll see Maffey just leaves too much space on his outside and is unable to track back and make the tackle.
I'm not so sure that Cartwright was on his feet when he played the ball then. He seemed like he was on his hands and knees, which should have been a penalty for Warrington.
Salford, great cup fighters throughout the 100 years of this Challenge Cup. 7 appearances, but only once winners at Wembley. 1938 with Gus Risman. Sculthorpe. And there we see the man who knows Wembley like his second home, Andy Gregory. He knows Joe what's wanted.
He does. It looks like with that waistcoat on, he's just joined the band.
Tatupu moving more in field now. Paul Sculthorpe again putting that high ball on the Salford defence, but Cousins there, well up to it. John Doherty, the Warrington coach, saw success with Wigan there in '94.
Steve, I'm sure you'd agree it's even more important now that Salford complete the sets of 6 tackles. They've just got back into this game with a great try. They need now to have some stability.
Yeah, you need to work the defence hard, and that's what Salford would have to do now. Obviously, Andy Gregory sent out the message, and you can see they're running from dummy half. They're trying to control the ball now more, and I think that's what they'll try to do. They'll try to keep the ball away from Warrington for long periods.
Paul Forward again, number 11, causing problems down that left-hand side for Warrington. Oh, Lee forced to pass inside. Blakely just looking really for a distance rather than trying to find touch. Ambitious pass there from Harris to Hanari. Can't get away from Scott Naylor. There is Salisi Finau, obviously had that nose plugged. The blood has been staunched. Back in the frame. Gary Chambers. That's a difference since the opening 10 minutes.
That's right, it just proves that Salford have come back into the game, 57% there of the territory. And it's that advantage that gave them the try as well. They had been in the right position of the field to score such a vital.
I think there's an elbow from loose forward Sculthorpe there. You see him get his elbow up here, straight in there. I think that's what the referee's come in for.
He didn't miss either, did he?
Well, I must say, so far, Russell Smith has missed very, very little, Joe. He's been right on the spot for everything. He's been firm in his decisions. And certainly with this one, he's telling the captain that Sculthorpe leading with the elbow, that can be dangerous.
But that's what the players want as well as the crowd for a good game. The players need to know where they stand, and they need to know that they have confidence in the referee to be able to spot and make such good decisions.
Steve Blakely then just content to fine touch. Cliff Eccles. Cartwright, Platt. A lot expected of these two experienced forwards, Cartwright and Platt. Lee again to Forber. Oh, Forber coming on the charge again. He's got that extra yard of pace, Paul Forber.
That's the second time they've tried that particular move. What they do, they use Platt and Cartwright to make the initial dent in the defence, and then Forber, another big man, to try and bust through the gap.
David Hume edging closer. It's Warrington now being pushed back by this relentless Salford pressure. Lee inside. Oh, Crouches is almost there. Good linking up there by the fullback. Mark Lee again. Little grubber kick. Well picked up. Martin Dermott there, hanging back in the sweeper role. Cleverly done. Good defence. Adventurous passing here on their own line. Hanari. Not the biggest of lads, but certainly one of the fastest. Oh, a superb effort from the Hanari. Beat 4 or 5 men there. And a penalty against Salford. Into the sin bin. David Hume. David Hume. He's not very happy. Adjudged to be holding down in the tackle.
This sin binning caused by Richard Hanari's ability to get his team out of trouble, out of defence, springs the attack, and Hume there just holding him down too long. Very professional, but he got caught.
Well, the players, Steve, they know, they've been told many, many times that the referees want this, play the ball, speed it up.
It was a professional foul. If you notice, Hume come in and flop. The man was already tackled. Hume come in after he was tackled to hold him down, to slow him down that little bit longer, and that's why he was sin bin.
So a very difficult time then now for Salford. One man down. Just coming up to almost 10 minutes remaining in this first half, trailing by 2 points. And I think David Hume realises the severity of this situation. Salford being penalised. This time Mark Lee for not allowing Willie Swan to play the ball. It's Warrington then, opening it down that side. Good pass inside by Shelford. Harris. Good tackle there by Scott Naylor. Came in very, very quickly, spotted the danger with Finau. Harris again.
Warrington are trying to make this numerical advantage pay now. They're throwing the ball even wider and even faster, trying to catch Salford on the outside, knowing that they're a man down, with David Hume being in the substitutes bench.
Dermott. Lost by Maffey again. Certainly having some problems on that wing with his handling.
You notice Warrington are attacking their right-hand side all the time. And you'll notice that Steve Blakely is defending that side. I think that might be something that Dorahe's pointed out, that it's his first game for a long time. Let's run at him a lot. Let's make him defend.
There we see Sini Faimalo coming on for Andy Platt, another very experienced packman. Well, as you said, Steve Blakely hasn't played for 6 months. He's had that groin operation. It is a test for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a gamble too. It's obviously a calculated risk. They believe that his presence on the field, his ability both for his kicking game and his distribution is very important. But Warrington, on the other hand, have probably said, well, it is his first game back. Let's test him out with defence, try and tire him out by running at him, and therefore nullify his attacking ability.
Andy Plattler sitting in the dugout. Nothing too much wrong with him. Tactical use of substitutes these days. Ask a prop to expend a lot of energy for half an hour and then bring another one on. Salford then still with 12 men but putting in all the attack. Edwards to Blakely. Oh, he's going himself. Oh, he's lost it. Knock on adjudged against Steve Blakely.
Yes, the referee giving the first offence. There were 2 knock-ons here. He judged that obviously Steve Blakely made the first one, and therefore it'll be the Warrington's feet of the scrum. And I think Steve will be quite relieved to get this possession back and just settle things down.
Yeah, they will. But they'd be looking at this period to be scoring some tries because they're a man up on Salford, Warrington, so they'd certainly be wanting to get them points on the board.
Possible problems for Warrington. The left winger Richard Henare has pulled the hamstring in his left leg. He's not much more than a passenger at the moment. Warrington are going to leave him on the pitch to see if the situation improves, see if it gets any better. It's Henare with a pulled hamstring.
And further problems for Warrington. That's the second time a Warrington player has been adjudged to be leading with the elbow. A chance then. It was Paul Sculthorpe again. So a chance for Steve Blakely to equalise. And there is Richard Henare. Well, if he's pulled a hamstring, I don't think we'll see him so very long on this pitch. He's certainly limping, Joe.
He is, and I'm sure if it is that bad, he is only a hindrance to his team, and Warrington need to get a substitute on and on quickly. Salford have already proved that if there is a weakness, they will exploit it. And with Henare being on the wing with an injury, I'm sure they will look to run down the left-hand side.
Steve Blakely, the leading point scorer for Salford for the past 4 seasons. Certainly a key man if Salford want to progress to the semi-finals. Just steadies himself, takes a deep breath. Well, he flights the ball, but it moves to the left. So, no successes from 2 attempts from Blakely, and really, that could be one to be said that got away. Still, 6 points to 4. Salford actually, Joe, are making good use of this period without that extra man.
Yes, maybe it's possibly because Warrington are trying a little bit too hard to exploit the gaps. They're throwing the ball around and making mistakes. Salford realise after having got back in the game with the try, they have to just now retain possession, slow things down and wait until they have a full complement of players.
Blakely looking to open up that defence in midfield. He does do so. He's got some support with him. Certainly Andy Gregory's gamble with his captain seems to be paying off. Edwards to Mark Lee. He's got Forward and McAvoy there. Mark Lee again at the pivot, looking for that little rubber kick again. Well, he's tried it 2 or 3 times and it's not quite good. He hasn't really kicked the ball far enough, Steve.
He's putting little kicks in for himself. He's got to get that ball in the in-goal area where Warrington have to play at it, play for the ball. Also gives his team a chance to follow through and maybe pick up any loose ball Warrington might come up with.
At the moment, he's just allowing Warrington to pick up the ball.
He is. They're nothing kicks. They're not going anywhere.
Shelford, good coming from Shelford, he's got support inside him. Henare, well then, has he got hamstring problem or has he not? He makes it to the line. Well, if Richard Henare has hamstrings, I wish I had legs like him, Joe. That was some run.
I'll have 2 bad hamstrings if you can run like that.
Now then, is it a try or is it not? Referee Russell Smith having a word with the two judges. He's adjudging. Did he knock it on as it went over? The touch judge is indicating that he grounded it and then the ball went loose. So, Mr. Smith giving a knock on. Well, here is a talking point. The touch judge there, not too happy. Here we see Hanari. He goes for the line. He's tackled from behind. He drops it. Does he drop it short?
I think that was a fantastic decision from the touch judge. I think he saw that in the blink of an eye, noticed that Hanari dropped the ball just before the line and wasn't able to go across for the try. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, it certainly looks short of the line, but as you say, it was a great decision from the touch judge being so far away from where the try took place, or the non-try took place.
Mr. Molyneux, the man on the spot with the red flag, but that was good liaison between Russell Smith and Jim Molyneux. Here we are again.
I think it's time to give the referees and their assistants a pat on the back here. The ball wasn't over the line there as he loses possession, and it was a fantastic call.
Certainly no try.
Top class call.
Reminds me of that touch judge who disallowed that goal in the World Cup. Was it England or Russia, the soccer? Russian touch judge. I'm not too up on soccer.
Or touch judges.
I don't think you two are either, because you two don't know.
Definitely not up to touch judges in the soccer.
I know it was a World Cup game anyway. Let's get back to the rugby. So a let-off there for Salford. Cassini Famalo. Martley. Switching with McAvoy. Captain of the Great Britain Academy team this last winter in New Zealand. Scott Naylor. Oh, Naylor making good progress down the right-hand side there. Lee gets a nice pass out there to Peter Edwards. Edwards, this stocky Kiwi. Can't get through, but it's offside. It's a penalty. In front of the posts.
It's a penalty in front of the post. A great chance for Steve Blakely to kick it. And we see Hume there coming back on the field after the sin bin in. So rather than Warrington taking advantage, it's Salford that managed to survive, having that try disallowed from Warrington, and now having a chance to level the scores with a kick from Blakely.
Yeah, that was good referee from Russell Smith there. Warrington were offside. He let Salford go on and see if they could score, see if they could do something. Once they couldn't, he then gave the penalty to Salford, and this has been a fantastic 10-minute period for Salford, being down to 12 men.
It certainly has. I think the Salford coach, Andy Gregory, will be a very relieved man at the end of those 10 minutes, because in a game now of such intensity, when you are a man down, you are vulnerable.
We're going to have to look back to the St Helens Wigan game. Bobby Goulding left the field just before half-time. The second half, St Helens were under pressure, but they came up with the goods and got the win.
Point taken.
Yeah, I think some teams just think that if the opposition's a...
So the simplest of attempts there from Steve Blakely, and as we approach the final seconds towards half-time, all square. Warrington 6, Salford 6. Everything to play for.
I was saying, Ray, that some teams think that when the opposition's a team down, they don't have to play anymore. They're going to automatically score tries and win, and that doesn't happen in this game. You have to work for points in this game, and Warrington haven't done that in that 10-minute period.
Mr. Smith just having a word with the Salford players to stay behind the kicker and the ball. Less than 30 seconds remaining. Paul Hume. Warrington progress halted there. 4 good defenders covering across. Willie Swan to Chambers. Good pass there from Shelford. Harris. Oh, that's a high one for Rodgers. He's lost it. Oh, good covering there. Good covering there by the wingman, Phil Collins. That was good play from that wingman. There was a certain try there, Joe.
It had to be good covering and good play because the ball was spilled again by Rodgers. And if it
It was tackled perfectly for the first 20 minutes, but then it all went to pieces and they didn't. They lost the advantage, they lost the momentum, and his message is they've got to start all over again, all afresh in the second half.
We heard Sean McRae, Steve, talking about Salford's kicking game. I think I'd agree with him.
Yeah, the kicking game wasn't the best of the two teams, but it's something that Andy Gregory would have spoke about at half-time, and I'm sure that'll improve.
Justin Harris. Direct to Fattasini. Short, squat, but powerful, this Western Samoan. Formerly a standoff. Mark Lee to Rodgers.
You notice that Richard Hanari's still out there and he's still limping. I don't know what the injury is, but John Doherty has decided to leave him on there. He doesn't look 100% fit.
Again, lifting up in the tackle, a spear tackle again. You cannot do that. Warrington have been warned. Lee trying to get Cliff Eccles charging forward. And there is Richard. Now, Joe, you and I were having a discussion at half-time. I couldn't see how he could run with a hamstring injury. You said he could.
I don't know, maybe it's an injury to the calf region. Some injuries you can run full out, flat out, but you can't actually walk. It's painful to walk, so maybe he has one of those weird injuries.
I was only a forward, Joe.
It's a strange decision, though, when you've got a player with the calibre of Koe Love on the bench.
Well, strange decision or not, it's Salford piling the pressure on. Peter Edwards, 5 metres from that Warrington line. Mark Lee. Back to Cartwright. On this side, Martin had the space outside. Back again to Cartwright. Good defence again from Warrington. They are moving in very, very quickly. On the 5th tackle. Rodgers to Paul Forber. Can Forber charge over? Oh! The Salford players are pointing for a try. Once again, there's doubt, but there isn't. Mr. Smith says a try. One or two people, I think, felt that he may have lost the ball on the line, but not so, says Mr. Smith. He's given the try. Yes, says Paul Forber, the fist raised in the air. And the Salford fans delighted. 10 points to 6 for the Reds.
An important start to the second half for Salford, a great start. Paul Forber, who played so well in the first half, this time uses his power and his strength in attack and just gets over the try line and gets the ball down.
Oh yes, superb effort there again from Mr. Smith. Notice him in the right hand side of our picture there, right on the spot. Warrington were protesting, but it was a try. The sheer upper body strength of Paul Forber, an experienced forward, many years in the game. He saw the gap, he charged at it, and he's picked up the 4 points. Blakely then looking for the conversion, and he finds it straight between the uprights. So Salford put their marker down, 12 points to 6 in the lead.
Now you'll see Paul Forber. He's going, the ball's going down, hand on it, yes. The ball going down with a downward motion, and that's a fair try.
And very cleverly Paul Forber, Joe, he just clutched that ball between his hand and his wrist, didn't he? No one could actually get that ball away from him.
No, he had downward pressure not only from his own body weight, but also 3 would-be tacklers that didn't manage to keep him upright and stop the try.
That's the second try Salford scored against Warrington on the last tackle. Warrington are just relaxing that little bit on the last play.
Warrington forwards then trying to assert themselves. They have had problems with the front row this season. Dallas Mead, the big Kiwi, was injured. Mark Hilton was injured. And that's one of the reasons why a centre, Salisi Finau, is propping. But plenty of space left and time. 35 minutes remaining. Harris once again with the kick. Oh, he took his eye off it. Markley, he thought he'd caught the ball. I think he heard a shout behind him to pass, took his eye away, and the knock on. But this Sun Joe is playing tricks, isn't it?
It is playing tricks, but I think Mark Lee actually had the ball. He had everything right, he'd done everything right, and then he started to think about what he was going to do once he caught it, and didn't actually get possession.
Chance of Warrington. Paul Sculthorpe coming away from this scrum. Still only 19 years of age. And George Mann coming on, making his cup debut. But Warrington have lost the ball. Or have they? Ripped out, says the referee, after consultation with his touch judge. Once again, good liaison here between the touch judge. Well, was it ripped out or not?
Well, very hard to see from that angle. The referee was down there. He couldn't see. He consulted once again the touch judge's assistant, and it was his call that gave the penalty.
And John Roper going to take a shot at goal.
Would you go for goal here, Steve, if you had the choice?
Yeah, I'd certainly go for goal. You get the 2 points and you're back in the game again. I mean, Warrington aren't out of the game. There's still a long way to go in this, and 2 points now at this stage would be vital for Warrington.
8 matches between these two sides in the Silk Cup Challenge Cup history. We've never had a draw, but who knows? This is tight. It could be. Chance of 2 points then from Roper. Oh, it's hovering there, it's just gone wide. Cheers from the Salford fans who are massed at that Kop end. Not the best of efforts there from Roper. I can't understand why Iestyn Harris isn't taking the kicks, Joe.
No, well, Roper slotted that beautiful kick over for the conversion in the first half, but Iestyn Harris is the recognised kicker. He has been in dispute and out of the side. He's back in the fold now, and I agree, Ray, possibly he should be taking the kicks.
Whatever, the score remains the same. 12-6 to Salford. Warrington desperate for points now. Maffin. Harris to Paul Sculthorpe. Never stopped trying this teenage loose forward. Again, one of the many good youngsters coming through in the game now. Chambers.
One thing you'll notice that Salford do very, very well, when they make the tackle, they slow the player down, prevent him playing the ball quickly. They try more often than not to put the player, in this case Warrington players, on their back.
And just look at the advantage Salford Reds have had in the second half here.
It's been almost a mirror image of the first half, where Warrington started very, very well, scored a try. In this half, it's been Salford that have really exploded into the half.
You notice Warrington is still running this right-hand side, running at Steve Blakely.
Well, running at Steve Blakely or not, it's not having much effect at the moment. It's Salford in the lead, 12-6.
But it might have a fight later on as he gets tired. It's his first game back after 6 months. That's a long time out of the game. And no matter how much training you do, it's very hard to adjust to match fitness.
In fact, we saw a similar tactic, Steve, in the St Helens Wigan game, running at Twickenham.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. It's something your coaches should try to do. They try to find a weakness or a play that hasn't played for a while and then attack them.
That's a better kick from Martley, but that's very well judged again there by Iestyn Harris. He plucked that ball out of the air superbly. But it's Salford pressuring Harris, pressuring Warrington, keeping them down here, and that's a penalty, as Joe Lydon was just indicating. Salford cleverly trying to hold Warrington down, but not clever enough for a referee of the calibre of Russell Smith.
Yeah, it's a very, very fine line. What you want to do is slow the play the ball down to let your defence get set. On that occasion, just a second or two too long.
Not much between the penalties. 18 conceded. And again lying on at the tackle. Well, we saw a man dispatched to the sin bin in the first half. Will we see another one go?
Well, you're exactly right, Ray. That happened. The referee set the precedent. But this time he's having a chat with Steve Blake, and I'm sure as captain he'll be saying to him, listen, any more of this and another play will follow.
It's not what you want. They've now given away two penalties in a row, Salford, and they need to consolidate. They need to cut out these penalties.
Russell Smith really laying down there in no uncertain terms that if it occurs again from Salford, it could be a sin bin. Warrington. Martin Dermott to Sculthorpe. Dermott there at number 9. Many seasons and Wembley appearances with Wigan. Now in the Warrington colours. Good passing out there along this Warrington line. To Tatupu, trying to break through. Looked to forward pass, but not so. Says that, oh well, it was on the floor. Oh, what's happening there with Richard Henare? Iestyn Harris can't believe it. The ball somehow would roll clear. Harris picked it up. The line was clear. And nobody seemed to take the pass.
Well, Iestyn Harris is furious at Henare for leaving his winger coming inside, and I believe he was right to do that. If Henare had stayed on his wing, he would have surely scored a try there, Steve.
Yeah, it was 2-on-1 there, and Iestyn Harris summed the situation up very good, and Henare come in there on the angle run when he should have stayed on his touchline.
Would his injury have had any effect, Joe?
I don't think so. I think that was just a decision. It was mental rather than physical.
Well, in a game of such physical intensity, mistakes are made. Players are human. Cartwright. Well, there's Henare. He'll regret that tonight if that scoreline stays as it is. Assini Faimalo, good pass from Faimalo to Edwards, and a better pass from Edwards. Good long striding run here from McAvoy. It's this Salford pack that's causing the problems in the middle. Blakely putting another high ball on Harris, makes him go back, but it's dead.
He had a better option, a better kick, a better style of kick, putting some height on it and putting some distance rather than the short kicks we had in the first half. But this time from Steve Blake a little bit too long, and giving Warrington the chance to take the tap on the
very good run out of defence there from Paul Hume, and this is what it needs. It needs some charges down the middle from this Warrington pack, and that's another penalty. That's the third consecutive penalty at the play of the ball against Salford. Roper. Maffey. He's quick, he's strong, is this Tongan. Sculthorpe. Warrington sensibly using the forwards now. Willie Swan, good switch inside there. Oh, that's knock on, play on, beautifully picked up by Pagana. Surely that's another 6 tackles. It is. Warrington on the attack now, looking for the vital points. 5 metres from that line. Looking for a quick play the ball now. Willie Swan to Harris. Harris back inside to Paul Hume. Hume, he's got Cartwright to beat. He doesn't. But nearer, 2 metres from the line now. Martin Dermott. Kelly Shelford. Can he force his way over? Yes, he does! He's lost the ball. Shelford's lost the ball. And it's Salford coming away. Darren Rodgers trying to go the length of the field. Harris is with him. He's got Fattasini. Oh, tremendous run by Darren Rodgers. From being almost a try at one end to a try at the other. Fattasini smashing towards the line.
That was a bad option.
Salford have got about 8 men lined up to his left. Why did he take that option? Is it too late? Blakely across the line. Former, he's got McAvoy with him. McAvoy steps inside. Salford fans suddenly overjoyed. Wonderful effort, length of the field try. There's nothing so unexpected as the Challenge Cup for excitement and for drama like this.
Watching this passing move unfold, you'll see Forbright here, second row forward, straightens up, gives McAvoy just enough room to step off his left leg and score a try.
Yeah, there's some great play from Salford here. Paul Forber once again out wide as a running back thrower, and Nathan McAvoy scores a good try for Salford.
Certainly took his opportunity well, young McAvoy. A favourite with the Salford fans, and Blakely will be an even bigger favourite if he can add this conversion.
The highs and lows of this game. Warrington was scoring down one end, they didn't score. Here it is now, we're looking at it now. Kelly Shelford, he's going over the line, everyone thinks it's a try, he loses the ball over the line, Darren Rogers picks the ball up, and then all of a sudden it's gone from Salford's goal line to Warrington's goal line.
And the problem, of course, for Warrington, all the players were up on that line there, Joe.
Exactly right, it's all about taking your chances. This is what Silk Cup football's all about.
Steve Blakely just puts the ball to the side of the left upright. Not in the best kicking form, but he'll certainly be delighted with this try. A skipper. Tremendous passing across field. Notice Paul Forber in a step to his left, and McAvoy is in. That's a good record, 52 tries in 71 games. That's for a youngster who's just making his way in the game. Has all the attributes to be a future Great Britain centre. 16-6 then for Salford.
This is how it happened over the line. Everybody thinks that Warrington have scored, manages to lose the ball somehow, and it's the Salford players in the form of Rogers who's alert enough.
You'll see, once again, you're seeing that tape there, that Russell Smith was right on the spot.
So that's twice Warrington have been almost scoring, Joe, and twice they've lost that ball.
And I again emphasise that it's all about taking your chances. Salford actually defended very, very well on that occasion. Mark Lee pulled out a fantastic tackle on his right-hand side in the corner.
Enough talent in this Warrington side still, though, to pull back. 23 minutes remaining. This is some cup time. Rogers again.
Very important now to see which side handles the pressure better. Obviously, Warrington have got to play a little bit of catch-up football, but it's no good just playing like chickens with no heads. They've got to really control the football and get in the right position to score the tries. Salford, on the other hand, have got to control the football. They're in the lead, and the forwards have got them there, and they want to continue in that mode of football.
Cartwright's doing a lot of work up front. This is why the big Aussie was brought over here. David Hume trying to get the pass away. Picked up by Mappy. And I don't think either of those two coaches will be too happy till the final whistle goes. Gregory in command at the moment, but a long time to go. Bagana. The Warrington pack, Joe, have not been able to get on top, have they?
They've not, apart from that first opening spell right at the beginning of the match when they looked to dominate for a period of no more than 10 minutes. But since then, as you say, Ray, it has been Salford that have got on top. They have really worked very hard in attack and defence, and have really taken the game to Warrington.
Nice flip back pass there from Paul Sculton. There's one Warrington forward who has really taken the game to Salford. Shelford to Harris. Picked up by Rogers.
You mentioned the Salford forwards are working hard. I think you'll see now it's time to bring Andy Platt back on. They'll look to spell somebody, possibly Cartwright, who's worked very, very hard, or even Forber, although Forber is having an outstanding game.
Well, I'd keep this man, Paul Forber, on. He's making ground every time he runs. Look, Andy Platt looks as though he may be off. He's got a T-shirt on, Joe.
Possibly an injury to Andy.
You see that Salford have got the football. They're running hard and straight. They're going up the middle all the time. They're making the yardage. There's a penalty there for stealing the ball off Nathan McAvoy.
Well, I think actually Mr. Smith here is adjudging a knock-on. He's not really saying that Roper stole the ball. It's going to be a knock-on.
But it is Salford's feed, so obviously it was the hand on the ball.
Oh, well, he's changed his mind. He was saying to the players that it was a knock-on, so he's changed his mind. David Hume, good driving run on the blind side there. Edwards, by Marlowe. Again, this Salford pack edging closer. Mark Lee. Well, he needed support from the forward there. Blakely. Scott Naylor. Cutting through. But good defence. Warrington defending very, very closely around that play the ball area. 6 or 7 defenders on the 5th tackle. Mark Lee looks for a drop goal. Oh, and Mark Lee finds the drop goal. A one-pointer from the canny scrum half. Always a good point to take at this stage of the match. 17 points to 6 now for Salford.
Yeah, the decision in the first half by Warrington obviously wasn't right at that time of the game, but now with a few points on the scoreboard and the time ticking away in Salford's favour, the perfect opportunity for a drop goal. And Mr. Lee realises that.
I was saying before that Warrington, when they've got the football, they're trying to spread it wide, they're trying to run their backs, but they've got no angle runners and they're standing flat. They need players coming in, they're running across field, and they're not deep enough when they are getting the ball out to their outside men.
I'm sure the thinking behind that, the philosophy is right, to try and exploit Salford's back line and try and work it, but you still have to have that platform of your forward.
But this is better for Warrington now. They know now they're at that vital stage. 18 minutes remaining. Well, a knock-on. Martin Dermott trying to con Mr. Smith that the ball had been stolen. Craig Randall, a fresh, strong, young, fit forward coming on for Assini Famalo.
And Andy Platt, Salford's Andy Platt, the forward there, is the second hamstring victim this afternoon after Richard Henare, the Warrington winger, who stayed on the field. Andy Platt, of course, rather more senior in years to Henare. There's Andy Platt on the bench.
So, Andy Platt will not be returning as we expected. Randall having his first touch on the ball. And just the right time for Salford to bring on a fresh runner. Blakely. Over again. The crowd roar for a forward pass. Mr. Smith obliges. Paul Former looks so innocent and quizzical. Was it really, sir, he says. Or words to that effect. Mr. Smith just having good words with the forwards, settling them down. Harris, switching play to Kelly Shelford. Good play by Shelford. Trained very, very hard this winter. Lost a considerable amount of weight, the Kiwi halfback. Tatupu. Warrington desperate for a try. David Hume, the loose forward there, covering well, as a loose forward should do, just behind the first line of the defence. Oh! An interception by McAvoy! Nobody will stop him. He's under the post. The Warrington line was far too flat in its passing. There was no depth in that line. And McAvoy spotted the chance. His 53rd try in the Salford colours. And does that try take Salford through to the semi-final? 21 points to 6. Well, he might smile, Joe.
Well, he might, yes. Exactly as you said, Ray, the passing was far too flat. You see it's almost exactly along the halfway line. It gives a predator of McAvoy's quality a perfect chance to pick the ball off as it's coming along the line, and there's nobody there. Harris is in the line, nobody to tackle him.
You see Swan, flat pass, Nathan McAvoy nearly fumbles the ball, but he's just too strong. They're not going to catch Nathan McAvoy with open spaces there.
Salford fans dancing on the terraces. And so they should. A good few thousand of them travel along the east flanks. They'll be even happier with that conversion. Another 2 points then for skipper Blakely. 23 points to 6 now for Salford. And Warrington with everything to do.
Yeah, it's almost parallel to the halfway line, the passing, and McAvoy's right up in defence in the face of the Warrington players, manages to pick the ball off comfortably, and then it's an open free run to the line.
Well, I had the pleasure or misfortune to be invited to a War Games attack, Joe, with Salford earlier in the season, where they were firing all these paint guns, and I must say, having been splattered all afternoon, I can vouch for their killer instinct and their fitness.
Salford may have to make a change imminently. David Hume got a bang on the knee, it's feeling very sore. Scott Martin is standing by, so it's David Hume of Salford who may have to come off the pitch.
Martin Dermott. Tatupu, Warrington failing to breach this defence in the middle. Kelly Shelford, all well picked up. Well picked up by Randall.
It must be the way they're running. In the first half, Salford running the way Warrington is, their kicking game was poor. This half, Warrington's kicking game's been poor.
Paul Sculthorpe has caused a few problems out wide, Joe, but there hasn't been really one Warrington forward who has managed to break this Salford defence.
And we talked about it a little bit earlier on. It's that platform that was mentioned so often in Cup and League football, where you have to get your forwards, the bigger forwards, the prop forwards, really setting the standard by taking the ball up hard and straight. It's only when they do that that gaps appear out wide for the likes of McAvoy and Blakely to exploit.
Just less than 13 minutes remaining, then Salford on the 5th tackle, possibly looking for another drop goal chance. No, says Mark Lee, a little grubber kick, and Harris to the rescue with a kick to touch.
Yeah, you'll see Mark Lee. Now, this is a clever kick. They've been putting the high balls up to Euston Harris. He hasn't looked like dropping a high ball. One along the ground, and he's in all sorts of trouble there.
David Hume just coming off the field. Well, we look at those tackles made there, Joe. 100 to Salford, 100 to Warrington. You know, the game looks as if it's been very evenly balanced, but as you say, Salford have taken the chances, haven't they?
Particularly in the second half.
And here, maybe more chances as Salford press home on the attack. Scott Martin, number 14, but again down this left-hand side. Oh, Martley! Well, he gets the ball away. Cartwright touches down, but was there a hint of obstruction in that? No, says referee Russell Smith. One or two of the Warrington players are concerned that there was a crossing, but Mark Lee, sleight of hand with that ball, pushed it across to Cartwright, and the big, powerful former Penrith Panthers pounced at the corner. 27 points to Salford now, and a hopeless cause for Warrington, surely.
Well, maybe it's my vision, but I thought there was an obstruction here. Certainly Rogers ran in front of Cartwright, and even the pass looked a little bit forward, and I think Warrington have justification to be a little bit aggrieved by this decision.
Yes, I would say that was certainly obstruction. Certainly number 15 there, Maffey, is impeded.
He certainly took a defender out of the way. Darren Rogers took a defender, Maffey out of the way. It should have been a penalty to Warrington.
But nevertheless, as my old mate used to say to me, Alex Murphy of Warrington, read it in the paper on Monday.
That's right. It's It's going to probably be the try that seals Warrington's fate.
Oh, and that's a good kick from Steve Bakley, gaining in confidence now. Another 2 points for the Salford skipper. And Salford really must be beginning to think that this could be their year. 29 points to 6. Who would have believed that scoreline here at Wilderspool?
Yeah, Mark Lee offloads here, Cartwright. Yeah, Darren Rogers definitely got in his way.
If Rogers had collected the ball, it would have been a great handle run and a well-worked try. But as it happened, he was just a little bit in front. Look at territorial advantage there. Salford 67%, well in control of the game in the territory and on the scoreboard.
The sun still streaming down on this ground. Ideal conditions for this cup tie. Superb underfoot and good handling conditions. Andy Gregg, I'm sure Andy Gregg is going to bounce on this field very shortly with a number 7 on his back if he could.
Some of the Salford players were saying before the game, the further they go in this cup run, the more Andy Gregory starts training. So I won't be surprised if they do get to the final. He'll have a shirt on his back.
And they're not very happy. John Doherty there in the grandstand. Oh, a wild pass from Shelford. When you pass a ball, you should look at the man to whom you're passing. Shelford didn't. Salford picked it up. Phil Cousins coming away. That's the difference between winning and losing.
Well, John Doherty's nickname as a player was Joe Cool. I think it's Joe depressed there. He's obviously feeling very, very sorry with his team's performance.
Well, I don't think he will be too happy.
I know how he feels.
Says the former Halifax coach. Salford now brimming with confidence. No one more than this man, Paul Forber. Joe, one of my candidates for a man of the match, Paul Forber.
Definitely, in attack and defence, he's had a very solid game. You add to that the fact that Andy Platt had to leave the field. We didn't realise at the time with an injury. It put more pressure on Paul Forber to have a great game, and that's exactly what he's done.
Good support work from Mark Lee, and a good kick from Lee. That keeps the pressure down, and there it is. Paul Forber, the man of the match.
Yes,
a tremendous effort.
A worthy winner of that award.
That was a great kick from Mark Lee there. This is what Salford want. Fine touch, slow the game down. The forwards can have a break. They deserve a break. They've worked so hard. They've got the game in the bag here. Let's have a rest. Let's get on with it. Keep Warrington down in their 20-metre area.
And the Salford coach has rewarded his forwards' efforts, in particular Cartwright, by bringing him off the field and replacing him once more.
Warrington, though, still desperately looking for another try to complement that one by this man, Paul Hume, in the opening minutes. Didn't it look so easy for the Wolves, but how it has changed. Good tackling again, good moving in by Salford, but that's a knock-on. Phil Cousins knocking on, head and ball to Warrington. Shelford, good miss pass there to Maffey. That's a good ball.
John Cartwright, Salford forward. John, opportunist tries have swung it really.
Yeah, we knew if we sort of played a bit too much with our hearts in the first 20 minutes. We spilled too much ball, give away too many penalties, and made a lot of mistakes in general. But we did well to hang in. We spoke at half time about just completing our sets, and we always thought the tries would come, and it's not nice when a plan works out like that.
Thanks, John.
Cheers.
John Cartwright, the big forward signed from Australia this season, but it's Warrington now at last making some progress, moving forward in the shape of Salisi Finau on the 5th tackle. Harris opens up play, and again another mistake. A lot of wild, speculative passes from Warrington in this half, though, Steve.
They've done it all day. Every time the balls get out wide, they're standing flat. They've got no decoy runners. They're throwing the long, speculative passes, and they're going to nobody.
Would it be fair to say, Steve, that during the week when you're practicing the moves, you're practicing your game plan, you've no opposition against you, and you can throw these long balls away, you can get the play running wide. But when you come up against a team like Salford, who defended so well, and they're so workmanlike, it's a completely different matter.
Completely different. At training, against nobody, it's easy. Nobody drops balls. Passes always seem to go to somebody. Under pressure, that's when it counts. And sometimes, and the handling errors you'll see there, Warrington, 13 handling errors to Salford 7, and that tells the story. But as we were saying, on the day, Salford control the ball better. They've gone straight up the middle, even though they just dropped the ball now a 30-foot mile. But they've worked hard. They've made the yardage up the middle, and they're on top.
And of course, two of the crucial handling errors for Warrington were on that Salford try line and cost them 8 points at least. So just 4 minutes remaining. Salford then cruising now into that semi-final spot. 29 points to 6. Play on, says referee. Scott Naylor. Done a lot of good work, these two centres. They're two very big lads. They take some pulling down and they've got that yard of pace. Forward.
I'm sure Paul Ford would like to cap his performance off by a try. And there's still plenty of time on the clock for that to happen.
Mark Lee. Paimalo. Edwards. Mark Lee again. Back inside to Randall. Back to Edwards. Little busy bee this time. Edwards going for the line. Good tackle. Very good tackle by Paul Hume. On the 5th tackle.
Another drop
Here's
goal.
Mark Lee again. Oh, one dummy, 2 dummies. A couple of dummies. Attempted drop. Grubber kick. You name it. Mark Lee tried it. But he's worked hard. He and Edwards have been key figures in midfield for Salford. Very busy. Moving it all the time. Once a hooker, now a scrum half. Taken by Roper. Finau playing on despite that bad broken nose. Willis one. To Roper. He's got some space on this side. Can he get that ball away? No. I thought he might flick that ball out one-handed. Oh, nothing going right for Warrington. Martin Derbert there trying to execute the pass before he'd caught it.
I think that's handling error at 15.
Mark Lee taking his time at this scrum. Seconds ticking away there now. Salford, no need to do anything, just pull this ball for the 6 tackles. Paul Colombo wants